Hey everybody, my name's Mike Johnson, and you're listening to a very special free audio here on pwinsider.com. A 15-minute snippet of a discussion I had this afternoon with TNA President Dixie Carter and Pop TV President Bradley Schwartz, obviously talking about the move for Impact Wrestling leaving Tuesday nights thanks to SmackDown going over there and landing on Thursday nights, TNA's old home, its old haunt, so to speak, when it was on Spike TV, with a new time slot of 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, 7 Central, and so on and so on. If you enjoy this audio and you'd like to hear the complete 35-minute conversation with them, talking about a lot of other topics that we didn't touch upon here in this little snippet, you can visit us at pwinsiderelite.com. Click subscribe, and you can subscribe. You can check us out ad-free. Yes, ad-free. 3 days free, and you can check out all the audio features and a lot more that we have to offer in the elite section of pwinsider.com. Whether you do or you don't, I hope you enjoy this audio, and I thank you very much for your support of pwinsider.com. Thank you for clicking on the ads, thank you for dealing with the ads, and thank you for coming back every day to check out what we have to offer with our own patented version of professional wrestling coverage. Till next time, I'm Mike Johnson. Enjoy the audio. Hey everybody, it's Mike Johnson here in the audio section of pwinsiderelite.com. As you likely read on the site just a few minutes ago, TNA Impact Wrestling and Pop TV have announced that Impact is going home to Thursdays. The series will be moving starting July 21st to a new time slot at 8 p.m. and a new day, which for longtime viewers of Impact is actually an old day, Thursdays. We're on the line with Pop TV President Brad Schwartz and TNA President Dixie Carter to discuss this move, and I'm sure a lot of other things. I want to thank each of you for the time sitting down with me today, and I want to say hello and ask you how each of you are.
Hi, Mike. How are you? We're great.
Yep.
Brad, how are you, sir?
You know what? We're doing really well today. Really well.
So I have to ask. You know, there was all this concern that TNA wasn't going to last on Pop, and the relationship was terrible, and people from the outside were trying to come in and be consultants, and yet here we are, everything is fine and dandy, and you guys have made the strategic decision to move the show to Thursdays. Obviously, WWE's putting SmackDown on Tuesdays, so moving Impact back to a time slot. Oh, actually, it's a new time slot, which we'll talk about in a second, but to a day where the audience was already somewhat familiar with knowing it was there from the old days, moving it away from WWE, obviously the healthiest thing for the series. But before we get there, let's talk. I talked with Brad about this about a month or so ago. Let's talk about the relationship between Pop and TNA, because obviously there's always some people assuming the worst. The sky is always falling. How are the relations between the two entities as of today?
Brad, I'll let you answer.
Let me answer that. Again, Mike, it's a lot like we spoke about a few weeks ago. I mean, it's just been fantastic. I think I speak to Dixie more than I speak to my wife. We're literally on the phone like every single day, building this thing together, and it's really fun and exciting. And as we sit here today on this phone call, it's actually the most exciting day of our relationship so far because we just had our biggest night since we started together on Tuesday. And as you know from our last conversation, I don't care about overnight ratings. We wait and see how delayed viewing comes in. But Tuesday night, we delivered our best ever total audience, men 18 to 34, adults 18 to 49, men 18 to 49, women 18 to 49, adults 25-54, men 25-54, women 25-54. We set records for this relationship on Tuesday night, which is outstanding. It did over 400,000 viewers in the overnights. If percentages that we've been seeing hold, that should balloon to between 500,000 and 600,000 viewers once Live Plus 3 and Live Plus 7 comes in. So, we've had some great momentum. We had a little hiccup with some technical problems a few weeks ago, but the momentum, it just keeps building and building. And Tuesday was a great night for us, especially as we lead in Tuesday, and then as that leads into our new night on Thursdays. And I'll finish with just one thing. Outside of ratings, there were a ton of people talking about Impact Wrestling on Pop Tuesday night. According to the Nielsen Twitter ratings, which they submit every day, Impact was fifth in all of television. So that's like Pretty Little Liars on ABC Family, it's Scream on MTV, and Impact Wrestling was right there with those shows in the top 5 in the Nielsen Twitter rankings Tuesday night. So you've caught us on a good day, Mike.
Well, I definitely want to talk about the final deletion, but let's talk about the move to Thursdays. Obviously, we'll talk about the elephant in the room. WWE moving SmackDown to Tuesday nights live was going to at least erode part of the Impact viewing audience because, let's face it, wrestling fans, the WWE brand loyalty is there. Talk a little bit about the strategy, not just to move it back to Thursdays, where Impact traditionally was when it was on Spike TV for most of that run, but also the move from 9 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern, and what the decision-making behind that was.
I personally love when you say we're going home to Thursday nights. Thursday nights have always been our best nights for us. You know, we've been moved around a good bit. We've always wanted to stay on Thursdays, never wanted to leave. It's a tough night for competition, you know, with or without football, but there's a lot more people watching television those nights. You know, historically, we've had a lot of success on there. And, you know, so when Brad came to me and, you know, mentioned this, you know, we were thrilled. And as it comes, you know, I'll say from my perspective on the relationship, like you hear the enthusiasm in this guy's voice. That's every conversation I have with him. That's just his incredible, infectious personality, his belief in our brand. And, you know, his team is really, you know, knocking it out of the park on the promos that they're cutting and the support that we're getting. And, you know, it's just every day it gets more and more. And, you know, I couldn't be happier than with the working relationship we have with these folks. And what I love is that, you know, Pop is becoming a more of a household name. I think every week, I think we're helping to contribute to that. The things that not just with Impact, but that Brad's doing on the network are incredible, the success that they're having. And, you know, we were just talking about it on a recent phone conversation. You know, we hope that, you know, from everybody being able to be aware of the channel and be able to know what channel it's on within short order. I think that that's just a huge accomplishment for such a young channel, but a young channel with incredible distribution. And, you know, we're just, on behalf of not just me, but everybody, you know, we're thrilled with the relationship.
Yeah, and you know, put a little more about the strategy of the move to Thursdays, as you asked about. You know, of course, when they announced the move of SmackDown to Tuesday nights, that obviously, you know, makes a lot of people go, well, what should we do? And a lot of conversations directly with the Impact team and our marketing team and our scheduling team, and we kind of put all of our heads together and we say, what should we do? Should we stay where we are? Should we move back a little farther on Tuesday night? Should we Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? So start looking at the competitive landscape, start thinking, gathering research, looking at competitive grids, and try to figure out where's the best home for the show. And, some of this is gut, some of it is instinct, some of it is, just flat out research. But ultimately, we decided to move it to Thursdays at 8 o'clock. It's kind of a great opportunity. You know, the many Thursdays is the most watched television night of the week. There's many more people just with their television sets on Thursday nights. So there's bigger opportunity. The huts and the putts, the households using television, people using television are high. So it actually, by SmackDown moving to Tuesdays, opened up a wonderful opportunity for us to put the show on a night where just more people are watching TV. Secondly, there is a huge audience of people that are used to and have formed habits around watching wrestling on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock. And with the change that USA and WWE have made, that doesn't mean that people still don't have a habit, whether it's conscious or subconscious, of watching wrestling on Thursday nights. So we think that maybe there is an opportunity to grab some of those people with our product. And finally, as you said, there's some history to TNA being on Thursday nights, and that's kind of a cherry on top of the whole thing. So we really looked at every hour of prime time and every night of the week. The downside, of course, there's pros and cons to every move. The downside, of course, is there's 14 weeks of football on Thursday nights, and that certainly, you can see the SmackDown ratings get hit on Thursdays when there's football. So we are anticipating that might be a little more difficult. But this is a 52-week-a-year show, and you've got to think of it as a long-term strategy. And, for 14 weeks, hopefully just people set their DVRs.
And the good news about a Thursday night move, too, real quick, Mike, is the DVR strategy. Because like Brad says, we don't look at the overnights. We look at the +3s and +7s. And now we have the chance for the +3, to be on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which are the 3 strongest days of the week for DVR. So, again, that's a real positive for us.
Yeah, most people catch up on their DVR viewing on the weekend. And if your show's on Tuesday night and people watch you on Saturday or Sunday to catch up, that doesn't get captured in the +3. If you air on Thursday nights and people catch up and watch you on the weekend when they have some spare time, you do get captured in the +3. So that's also a little strategy plus to it.
Wanted to ask you guys about the final Deletion that aired this past Tuesday. Obviously got TNA a ton of attention on social media for what TNA usually produces. It was something outside of the box. It was very unique. It was produced differently. It was a little campy at times, a little off the beaten track at times, but also based around a very personal issue between Matt and Jeff Hardy. Given the numbers that we've seen already, and given the huge outpouring of social media attention, good and bad, it was probably the most talked about segment on TNA Wrestling, I dare say, in the last couple of years. I'm curious what the strategy might be going forward to produce similar content that's sort of spoiler-free, because you're shooting it, let's say, on a closed set, more or less, even though it was in Matt and Jeff Hardy's home. But the odds of it leaking out and the results being published on, say, PW Insider in advance, probably not very likely. What are the odds of TNA doing more of this type of material? Maybe not even just with Matt and Jeff Hardy, but in general. And I'm curious what Brad thought of the entire final Deletion, because while we got a lot of reaction shots from people, we didn't get anything from Brad. So I'm curious what Brad thought of the whole segment.
Dixie, why don't you go first?
Okay. So I think that, when you said it's something different from us, I think, you've been seeing more and more kind of outside the, soundstage taping area shots from us in the last couple of months. It's something that we've kind of done on and off through the years, and it's a definite priority for us moving forward. I think that it was taken to a level that's never been done in the history of wrestling from anybody that I've ever talked to. I thought the execution was great. It was intentionally campy. It was intentionally dramatic. It was an intentionally intense. And I think, the team led by Jeremy Borash and the rest of our crew, and, not to mention, Matt, whose character, in my opinion, is just so off the charts, so incredible, so unique. I have to give it to him. I don't think his work has ever been on this level. And I got to tell you, every time I see Jeff Hardy, he's a different Jeff Hardy than first started with my company or the second time he came back to our company. I think that he is just, both of these guys, what they did that night was incredible and creative. And, honestly, I was expecting more of a mixed reaction to it. And I, was thrilled that it was overwhelmingly positive. I think the results are a good start for us. It's not an end-all, be-all. And the goal is to do a lot more of this in the coming weeks. And I think it does what you say. We've done segments on and off in the past, like I said, but it does keep people, tuning in spoiler-free. I'll say this, Mike, when we went live on Spike during a time when, we were having a lot of success, we did not see the bump in going live. And, for whatever reason, shows that were not live versus the shows that were live were, generally, give or take 5% up or down, on any given week. But there wasn't there wasn't the, you know, overwhelming sign to say that's what makes a difference. I think people watch TV completely different today than they used to when we were on Spike, than they used to a year ago, much less 10 or 15 years ago when we first launched. And we have got to recreate and distinguish our product from what's out there. We've got to be different. I think you can see that we're trying to swing for the fences. I'm not ashamed to say we're working our asses off to earn people's trust to come back and either watch our show, or if you're a big fan, to make you proud to go out there and talk about it and say tune in. And I couldn't be more proud of our crew and our staff and our talent. We're working hard, and I think we're starting to see the fruits of our labor pay off. The momentum is definitely in our favor. We've been on a real big upswing. Like Brad said, we had the hiccup coming out of Slammiversary, and that was disappointing. But, for us to be able to have just picked up right away, and, had the show like we had last week, there was no advertising. It was word of mouth, and I think we knocked it out of the park.
And Brad, what did you think of Final Deletion?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm my background is as a marketer. I mean, I've grown into a channel head since then, but my background's as a marketer. So for me, it all starts with the energy and the passion that people were so excited, about this show. I thought the promos that we cut at Pop really sold the excitement well. I think the promos that TNA cut of having people watch it and just see their reactions before it were amazing. I loved the hype and the expectation that was there. And listen, I usually DVR the show and watch it when I get home at night, and it certainly, there was so much talk and excitement about the show that I sat in my office and watched it, live with everybody else. So from a pure marketing standpoint, it was amazing to see how many people were excited about this and talking about it, and obviously the numbers bore out that a lot of people felt the same way. They wanted to watch it live. And then actually watching it, which I think is part of your question, it was unbelievable. I mean, parts of it were insane, as you said, parts of it were a little campy, but damn, one thing I always tell everybody that I work with is go for it. Always go for it. Always try new things. Always be bold and different. You're never going to get anywhere just doing the same thing that everybody else does. So try new things. And damn, if this wasn't a new thing, it was exciting. It was different. These athletes were insane in their competing with each other. It was off the charts. I thoroughly, I stood up the whole time watching it, and it was amazing. So I loved it. I want to see more stuff like that.